Three times Om chanting. Om. Om Tat Sat. Now we'll go through the chapter 15 once, whole chapter. Om Tat Sat Adha Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishadsu Brahmvidya Yogshastra Shri Krishna Samvade Purushottama Prapti Yoga Adha Panchadasha Adhyaya. This chapter is Purushottama Prapti Yoga, attainment of Godhead. श्री भगवान वाचा ऊर्ध्वमूलम अधशाखम अश्वत्थम प्राहु अव्ययम छंदांसि यस्य पर्णानि यस्तं वेदस वेदविद अधच्छ ऊर्ध्वं प्रस्तुता तस्य शाखा गुण प्रवृद्धा विषय प्रवाला अधच्छ मूलानि अनुसंधानि कर्मानुबंधीनि मनुष्यलोके न रूपमसि तदोपलभ्यते न अन्त न च आदि न च सम्प्रतिष्ठा अश्वत्थमेनं सुविरूढमूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन चित्वा तत् पदं तत् परिमार्गितं यस्मिन् गतानि निवर्तन्ते भूय तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये यतः प्रवृत्ति प्रसृता पुराणी निर्माणमोह जितसंगदोष अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्त कामा द्वन्द्वै विमुक्त सुखदुःख संगे गच्छन् तमूढ पदम् अव्ययं तत् न तद् भासित सूर्येण शशाङ्कन पावकः यद् गत्वा न निवर्तन्ते तद्धाम परमो मम ममैव अंश जीवलोके जीवभूत सनातनः मनसष्टानि इन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति शरीरं यत् आप्नोति च अपि उत्क्रामति ईश्वरः गृहीत्वा एतानि संयात वायुगन्धानि वा आशया श्रोत्रं चक्षुस्पर्शनं च रसनं घ्राणमेव च अधिष्ठाय मनुष्याय विषयान् उपसेवते उत्क्रामतं सतुभावि पुञ्जानं वा गुणान्वितं विमूढा नानुपश्यन्ति पश्यन्ति ज्ञानचक्षुषः यतन्त योगिरचेन पश्यन्ति आत्मनि अवस्थितं यतन्तापि अकृतात्मानः न येन पश्यन्ति यच्चेतसः यत् आदित्यगतं तेजो जगत् भास्यते अखिलं यत् चन्द्रमसि यच्च अग्नौ तत् तेजो विद्यमामहं गामावशिच भूतानि धारयामि अहमोषा पुष्णामि च औषधि सर्व सोमो भूत्वा रसात्मकः अहं वैश्वानरो भूत्वा प्राणं देहमाश्रितः प्राणापानसमयुक्तः पचाम्यन्नं चतुर्विधं सर्वस्य हृदि सन्निविष्ट मत्ता स्मृति ज्ञानम् अपोहनं च वेदे च सर्व अहमवेद्यो वेदान्तकुलं वेदविद्येव च अहं द्वाविमो पुरुषो लोके क्षर च अक्षरेव च क्षर सर्वाणि भूतानि कूटस्थ अक्षर उच्यते उत्तम पुरुष तु अन्य परमात्मा इति उदाहृतः ये लोकत्रयम् आविश्य विभर्ते अव्यय ईश्वरः यस्मात् क्षरम् अधीतो अहम् अक्षराधिपते उत्तमः अतो अस्मिन् लोके वेदे च प्रयत्न पुरुषोत्तमः यो माम् एव असम्मूढो जानाति पुरुषोत्तमं स सर्वविद भजति मां सर्वभावेन भारतः इति गुह्यतमं शास्त्रविदम् उक्तं मया नघ एतद् बुद्ध्वा बुद्धिमान् स्यात् कृतकृत्येषु भारतः ओम तस्य च श्रीमद्भगवद्गीता उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्या योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णासंवादे पुरुषोत्तम योगनाम पंचदशाध्यायः. Yesterday we have discussed that ऊर्ध्वमूलम् अधशाखम् अश्वत्थं प्राहु अव्ययम् छन्दांसि यस्य पर्णानि यस्तं वेदस वेदविद अधच्छ ऊर्ध्वं प्रस्तुता तस्य शाखा गुणप्रवृद्धा विषय प्रवाला अधच्छ मूलानि अनुसंधानि अधच्छ ऊर्ध्वं प्रस्तुता तस्य शाखा गुणप्रवृद्धा विषय प्रवाला अधच्छ मूलानि अनुसंधानि कर्मानुबंधीनि मनुष्यलोके न रूपमस्ति तदोपलभ्यते न अन्त न च आदि न च सम्प्रतिष्ठा अश्वत्थम् एनं सुविरूढमूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन चित्वा. So up to this we have seen it thoroughly, and now this God is so far told us that it's a very secretive book. This chapter itself is, that's why in the end of this sloka Lord Krishna said that in the 20th of sloka, iti guhyatamam shastram, idam uktam guhyatamam, most secret. Guhyam is a secret, guhyatamam is the most secret. Shastram, science, it's a doctrine, it's proved philosophy. That's what he said, Lord said, proved knowledge. So this is very important aspect he's telling, that we have to catch it, we have to understand it. Then only we can apply it in, we can make our life successful. That much power is there in this chapter, to make our life successful. This is Purushottama Prapti Yoga. You will be surprised, we can all attain God. This is the attainment of Godhead. So this is the power. Nowhere else in the world promises such a promise that we can attain Godhead. This chapter is promising that. But how? That we have to understand. What is he telling? In the first 3-4 slokas he told that this birth of us in the form of the inverted tree, that he has this tree in the form of this inverted tree, this tree which is there, this tree, inverted tree, this tree is inverted tree. This inverted tree, in the form of this inverted tree, he had shown us this world is unreal. This is not real. That means what? That means what is this there in the world? You are there, I am there. Your wife is there, my wife is there, his wife is there, our children are there, their children are there. So our parents are there. like that. This is the generations are happening. We are seeing various forms of bodies in the names of various relationships. The world is continuing. This world is inverted, unreal. This is what he is saying that. So long as you believe, I believe, you and I believe that this world is real. That is, I am real, my body is real, my wife is real, my brother is real, my son is real, my daughter is real. So we are in illusion. All are equal. All are Godhead only. All are Godhead. They are all Godhead. That is what it is. They don't belong to anyone. That is the point he is making it. That we have to understand. Even when in the Mahabharata war, when Abhimanyu was killed in the battlefield, Arjuna was Krishna's own dearest friend, brother-in-law, such a devotee. He got shocked. He said, I will not fight the war, or I will tomorrow by next evening before sunset, unless and I kill that fellow who killed my son, I will die in the fire. So it's such a promise he makes it. And then he says, your son is not your son. So long as he is in the body, he is your son. Now he doesn't know he is my son. So that's what I'm telling you, this world is unreal. Even Arjuna level, Yudhishthira level, they don't understand. And what you and me are very nothing. They are much more better people than us. They are much more pious people, more accomplished people than Yudhishthira. Dharmaraj, the king, the prince, is a much more better person than you and me. Arjuna is definitely a better person than you and me, more knowledgeable than you and me. So they cannot understand, they could not understand about this inverted tree and life. What you and I can understand. So this world is unreal, imaginary. It's not there. It's delusion. It's illusion. That's what we have to understand. That means what? That means even our own selves, we ourselves are also not there actually. We are there living, appearing that we are living, but actually we are divine souls. That's what the God is saying. We are all divine souls. We are not this body. This is the point. Next he is trying to tell us the what is it called? Asanga Sastra Brihedi Chitva. And Tadapada Tatparimargatayam Vismin Gadan Vartan Tavedu Chati Purusham Prapati Yata Pravritti Prasuta Purani. That we will see in this now chapter. Today's class, see that how to overcome this illusion also. That's what he is telling. The blessed Lord Sri Krishna has told us how to overcome this illusion also. Illusion is so strong in us. It is overcome us totally. We are in illusion. Actually, we are moving in illusion. So, Sant Gyaneshwar Maharaj, to which we are all grateful, Sant Gyaneshwar Maharaj written as Gyaneshwari Bhagavad Gita to Gyaneshwari Gita. Because of his kind of explanation, at least I am able to understand something. I can tell you right now. Arjuna, this tree as I have described is an illusion. This tree of world tree, this tree of life is an illusion. It would be like serving a king with a ghee made from a tortoise milk. It is said that the tortoises, they don't have milk. The tortoise's mother, lady tortoise, mother tortoise which produces children, like it doesn't have milk. All other may be having, but tortoise doesn't have milk. Woman tortoise, female tortoise. Then what happens that Sant Gyaneshwar Maharaj is saying that it doesn't have a milk. Then you say if you are a king, he is a king. We wanted to serve him ghee from the milk of the tortoise. When the tortoise doesn't give a milk, how can you make it a ghee out of that? And how can you serve him? He is a king, of course, emperor. But you want to serve the ghee made of the tortoise milk. Tortoise, it doesn't give milk. Once it doesn't give milk, you cannot serve him the ghee. So this is an illusion. To serve him ghee made out of tortoise milk is an illusion. Ignorance is the root of this tree. Our tree, ignorance is the root. It's all said and done, but easier said than done. But then we have to understand it. Because we have already told that illusion means, the ignorance means it has got three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamo gunas. So these three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamo gunas, they are acting on us. So they don't let us go. These gunas don't let us go out in the path of the God. They try to capture us. Except only sattva guna in that. Sattva guna is only little bit out of kindness. It shows some kind of knowledge, some kind of light it throws upon us. Otherwise, Rajoguna and Tamoguna, they totally overpower us. They put us into various tasks and activities and sleep and all that. So then we are working on that also. We have to escape from that. And then we have to worship the God. There is no waking, sleep. If there is no waking, sleep would never end. If say we have slept for some time, and if I don't get up, the sleep would not end. I have to get up from the sleep. I have to put an alarm and get up. That's how I can get up. Otherwise, if I don't get up, I don't put in alarm and get up. Try to get up, I will continue to sleep. So ignorance is like this. The night does not pass. If the night does not pass, there will be no dawn. The night will keep on continuing, only darkness is there. There will be no sunlight. The sunrise has to take place. Then only night will go. So similarly, Arjuna, until discrimination arises, there will be no end to this tree of earthly existence. Until discrimination, what is right, what is wrong, what is good, what is not good, that differentiation of knowledge is called discrimination. So that until that discrimination arises, there will be no end to this tree of earthly existence. How can you ask one who is the mother of the child who hasn't been born, if a lady doesn't give a birth to children, and how can you ask who is the mother of the child? If the child is not at all born at all, then how can you ask that not born child who is your mother? Child is not there. Child is not born. Not born, then you are asking who is your mother. That is a falsehood and ignorance. And how can something exist which doesn't have a beginning? When it doesn't have a beginning, how can it exist? This illusion is like this. This tree is like this. Inverted tree is like this. This tree has neither beginning nor end, nor existence, nor form. It doesn't have anything. It's such a dangerous thing. It appears as if it is there, but it is not there. It doesn't have any form. Anybody can become our friend. Anybody can become our enemy. Anybody can become anything, our relative. But no, there's no reason. There's no form. There's nothing. This tree is like that. This illusory tree thrives because of our ignorance. As long as so much as we are ignorant, this tree will continue. See, a lot of people, they are passing through here by there. They just see and go. They just say and go. So long as ignorance thrives, this ignorance remains. So this illusory tree thrives because of our ignorance. So strike it down with the sword of self-knowledge. We need to have self-knowledge. With that only this tree will go. But then we have come and reading, so we thought that Bhagavad Gita is very important to read, especially in this Margasara Masam, Kartik Monsoon. We are reading this. So Bhagavad Gita is important. That is kind of a self-knowledge. This sort of self-knowledge, we are coming and doing it, listening this. Otherwise, we will not come and listen to this, do this practice. So with the sword of self-knowledge, we have to cut this tree of ignorance. Otherwise, this ignorance will not go. People are coming and going, seeing and going. They don't have time because they thought that is very important. What is there? That is very important. If you see, one gentleman is standing here, but he is waiting for his bus, his wife to come down from the bus. He is wasting his time, isn't it? Just so, but that's ignorance. Like rather than sitting here, and he is a born Brahmin, by the way. So, Krishna ignorance, illusion. And 10 days back in this colony, I take this opportunity to tell that Ashwatha Vriksham Samsaram. One husband and wife, they got up in the morning. We went to their house and later on to pay condolences. I was asking them how it happened. Said till 8 in the morning we got up. She got up and we made a cup of tea and all that. अच्छी तरह बात किया है सब है. She went to the bathroom, toilet, and I kept on waiting. 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. I thought she will never take this much long. So what has happened with my wife? In the bathroom, she went and knocked in the bathroom. To his surprise, bathroom never opened the door. He called the plumber and all that, some carpenter, and then got the door opened. And she found lying dead in the bathroom here in the colony, Sarnos.
F block,
M block.
My block.
His wife found dead. This tree, illusion tree, I'm telling you, you surprised, you shock out of his total life, he's shocked now. I just, sometimes I realize he used to look very, very, active and all those things. But now his activeness is gone, totally shocked. He's shocked how his wife is gone. Went to the bathroom and then never came out alive. So I never expected that his wife will suddenly die. And then she was talking to things, she was healthy. This is the word, this is the mystery of this life. That's what I'm telling you this. So we should be very, very clear about it. The sword of self-knowledge we need to have. Firstly, Lord Krishna said one is discrimination we have to have. Secondly, sword of self-knowledge is using the word. Atma Jnanam. Atma Jnana Shakti. We'll develop all this, sir. Once we start doing it, learning it, then only we can enter it. It's not that well, we don't try it and everything appears just like that. So how far you will wander up and down through the branch after branch. This tree, branches of branch, life after life, death after death. It's happening. Life after life, death after death, it is happening. The branch after branch we are wandering up. Sometimes we are born as a human being, and next life I'm telling you, if we really don't achieve God, we'll all become devatas. Let me tell you this, because Satvagana people go upwards. They all go to that are different branches. In that also there are many lokas. Gandharva loka, Swarga loka, Indra loka, Varuna loka, then uske baad Tapo loka, Rama loka, Krishna loka. Then there are so many lokas, Gopi lokam, so many lokas are there. Branches of branches, Narada loka and Shiva lokam, and these lokas are there. So we are moving branch after branch, we are shifting it. That's what is happening, and we only can become gods. We only become human beings also, and we become the other things, stones and trees and animals, depending on our karmas. So he is asking the question: how far you will wander up and down through the branch after branch. Okay, he is telling us here, get some knowledge, get some self-knowledge, do some sadhana, strike down ignorance with the true knowledge. Strike down ignorance with the true knowledge. We all have to make effort, of course. It would be like a person drowning in a river while he is running around in a forest looking for a boat to cross over a mirage. It is so funny thing, this kind of here people efforts and actions and all that. Actually say I am running. Actually imagine that I am or you are running in a forest. We are all running in a forest. But then we suddenly thought it would be like a person drowning in a river while he is running around a forest. While we are running around a forest, we are thinking that we are drowning in a river. And then we started looking for a boat to cross over a mirage. Then we are searching for a boat. Actually, I am running around a forest, and I am thinking that the water is getting submerged, and I require a boat to cross over the other side. There is no water as such in reality. There is no flood, but I am looking for a boat to cross over that because I am thinking that I am getting drowned in a water pond. Whereas actually, really, I am not getting drowned in a water pond. I am running around a forest. It is such an illusion thing. Our life is that. So because we have to really put in a self-control and knowledge and sense-control, then only we can overcome it. Otherwise, we are all tempted. We are all tempted to go in the path of the nature. The nature is Shakti or Shiva. Only two things are there in life. Shiva, the God of consciousness, the God, Shiva, is the one, the Supreme Lord. Either he or Mata. That's all. There's no other thing. And Mata will always capture us. We're always Shakti only. Unless we get into the consciousness through meditation, various practices, we will be in the lap of the mother. And then branch after branch. She only creates all the lokas, all devatas and everything. Only remedy for wound inflicted drawn. For you the English version. Only a remedy for a wound inflicted in a dream is to wake up. Say, in a dream you're sleeping, you're dreaming. In the dream you're fighting a war, and in that war you got injured by your opponent. You are a big warrior, you are fighting, but there are 10-1500 soldiers have come and they were fighting with 100 people. Then in that you got a wound, and in that wound you are suffering, and in that the only remedy from the pain, you are suffering with pain and you are crying, you are weeping. In that to get out of the pain, and suddenly you wake up. You wake up and see, so nothing had happened to me, and I am not in a battlefield, I am not fighting a war, and my hand is not cut. I am fine. then you'll feel happy. You'll touch your hand, everything is fine. Thank God I'm fine. So this is the only remedy for a wound inflicted in a dream is to wake up. Unless you wake up, you keep dreaming, so that kind of thing. And there is an end to the dream then. In this case too, in our life, self-knowledge is the only weapon to destroy ignorance. Only self-knowledge is only a weapon to destroy our ignorance. So we need to acquire self-knowledge. That we will see all this. Everything is there in Bhagavad Gita. Let me tell you, we don't have to go out of Bhagavad Gita. Everything is there in Bhagavad Gita. We have to understand it thoroughly. We have to capture it and we have to practice it. And there are two things. Firstly, we don't know. Secondly, we know. We come to know. Thirdly, we come to know, but we don't practice at all. There is no use. Fourthly, we come to know, and we practice it. Then the benefit is there. That is the thing. The fourth step, we have to follow it up. For the sword of knowledge to be effective, the mind must be governed by strong and enduring passion. One is passion. I want this, I want that. I want to do this, I want to do that. That is passion. This passion, that is opposite of this. This passion, you do, but unselfishly you do whatever you want to do for the Loka Sangraha, not for your own sake. That is what. This passion doesn't mean that you don't do anything, but you don't do anything for your selfish purposes. That is called dispassion. So the mind must have the dispassion. When a person develops a dispassion, he will abandon the pleasures of the three worlds, just as a dog obeys its foot. His dispassion must be strong, that he will feel disgusted with all the worldly enjoyment. To draw this sword from the sheath of egoism and hold it in the hand of self-knowledge. We have to hold the dispassion in the hand of the self-knowledge. Sharpen it on the stone of discrimination. Give it a keen edge with the awareness of the union with the God. We should always think of the union with God. That is how we should be showing us the route, the way to attain God. We have to firstly have the self-knowledge, then we have to have sharpen it on the stone of discrimination. Then thereafter, with a keen edge and awareness, with the awareness of the union with God, we should always think, when will I meet my Atmadev? Where is my Atmadev? Me means where am I? Who am I? That kind of thing, we ourselves don't know who we are and where we are, how we are. We don't know ourselves. That is what it is. Firstly, we have to know that Atma Deva, like we have said that we are all, this is all illusory first of all. That means what? Our bodies are illusory. Which means we are divine souls only. The divine sparks of the God only, soul only. That is what it is. So we have to try to reach that kind of a level in our thinking, mental level. Then hold it firmly in the grip of determination and observe it closely. Test it with meditation. Then we have to do the meditation practices. Sit alone and sit silently. Focus your mind and body and senses on yourself. That's how then you will try to find your soul, spirit soul within your own body. And let me tell you, there is nothing outside our body. Whatever good has to happen to us, it will happen to us within our body only, nowhere else. You cannot do me any good because you are outside my body. And similarly, I cannot do any good to you or anyone because I am outside your body. You are outside my body, I am outside your body. Everyone has to get it from him, body, mind and spirit. All the three are Kshara Purusha, Akshara Purusha, Uttama Purusha. All three are there in this. So that is the beauty of it. Yet your God, your God, your God. All I am God. So like this is what it is. So for that we have to need to do dhyanam. And we cannot expect somebody else will try to lift us up and make us something, go to heaven and all. Nobody can make you go to heaven except your own self. That is what we are understanding. This word of self-knowledge, strengthened by the radiance of the belief in non-duality. That's what we just discussed. We are all one. We are all divine souls. This is called non-duality aspect. If I am seeing you, I am seeing you, I am seeing madam. I have to see from the angle of the non-duality, that is spirit souls. If I see that you are all spirit souls, what happens is that I am a non-dual aspect. And if I am seeing madam, sir, madam, different, sir, this person, that is different. So then I am in the dual world. So there is an end to the dualistic world. That kind of a thing, you know. And then Indian, non-Indian, foreigner, this the thing, various countries. This non-dual, all are, we have to eat. Bhagavad Gita is telling us non-duality. We have to see it from that angle. But also we have to learn it. We have to learn it that first of all we have to see that. That's why sages become sages. And they are very pious people. They see the spirit soul in everybody. And they don't get into various problems. They are in the Atmic Bhavana. And they get over all the problems. We have to be in that. To such people only God is available. Then this tree will disappear. When if you are seeing everybody is the same, everybody in this world is same, then this tree of illusion will disappear. See the magic? Then what happens? You must have seen that. I've seen it personally in Rajasthan during afternoon times. I saw a huge river, water body, huge water body is there. From a distance I saw about 2-3 kilometers to 5 kilometers. I saw it. Distance of 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers, there's a huge river. I told my driver, see, after 1 kilometer we'll stop it and we'll put some water in the radius of the engine to cool the engine. They said, yes sir. Then we went there. After 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers, 5 kilometers, there's no water is there. I stopped that vehicle and they said, checked around. No, there is no water body is there. But then the same thing is now vanished. When the sunset happened, during the sunset, the water is happening, the mirage is happening due to the sun rays falling on the sand dune. And once the sun has set down and the moon has come up, then what happened? The mirage is not happening. The mirage is not visible thereafter. It's looking like sand only. So I am surprised till now. I've seen hundreds of times such things in many years, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years period. I went a number of times, and I used to watch this because my job is I'm the officer, I'm the commander, I'm the leader of the troops. I had to move ahead and do the recce, search, various places, deployments and all that. So a number of times, hundreds of times I've seen this. So this is what the Lord Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita, that this tree of illusion will disappear along with its whole network of branches and roots, just as a mirage vanishes in the moonlight. The moment sunlight is gone, the mirage is gone. That means Maya is gone. You are seeing the reality. So long as Maya is there, illusion is there, then we can't see the reality. So Arjuna, strike down this tree of worldly existence with the sword of self-knowledge. So that is what ultimately we have to get it. And that goal, thereafter, that goal is to be sought. Once we have to acquire self-knowledge, firstly, without acquiring self-knowledge, the next step cannot be done. That is what we have to be very clear about. So we don't, we skip it out, double promotion, you don't pass, you get good marks in 7th standard, you don't need to read the 8th standard, you go to 9th standard, double promotion. There's no double promotion here. You have to firstly get the self-knowledge. You have to get the discrimination, self-knowledge. With that self-knowledge only, other things are going to happen. I don't have my self-knowledge, but I want to get the God. Everybody says कि मेरे को भगवान दिखा दो. भगवान कहाँ है? भगवान को मुलाकात करा दीजिए ना. भगवान दिखा दीजिए. भगवान कहाँ किसको दिखता है? कोई किसी को नहीं दिखा देता है. यहाँ दुनिया में कौन किसी को भगवान दिखा सकता बताइए? इतना प्रीस्ट, इतने सारे टेम्पल्स है, इतने सारे हैं, इतने सारे लोग हैं, आश्रम्स है वगैरह. कौन किसको भगवान किसको दिखा दिया है? खुद को भी किसको भगवान दिख दिया क्या? So we have to have that self-knowledge first. With the self-knowledge, we have to try and get it. Once we get it, thereafter we have to set up a goal. The goal is to be sought in that primal spirit. God is the primal spirit, that we have to understand. God is a divine light. In the primal spirit, I take refuge. We have to take refuge in that. I take refuge, like our home is our shelter. Once we go from here in the society to survive, you can't survive and I can't survive on the streets or footpaths. We have to go to our home. We go to our home and relax. That is called taking refuge in the home. Our home is our refuge. So, but for a body, but for a soul, we have to take refuge in that primal spirit. That divine light only we have to take refuge. Nowhere else. Whence this primal energy stream forth, from that divine energy only, divine light only, divine spirit only, this primeval energy, this energy is coming. This is called energy Shakti, Maya, Parashakti, Adi Shakti, Adi Mahashakti, Parashakti, Durga Mata, Linga Bhairavi, this Durga, Parvati, Shakti. She is the primeval energy. She is coming from whom? From Lord Shiva only. She is not different. Lakshmi has come from whom? Lakshmi has come from Lord Narayana only. So she has come from him. She is her energy. Lakshmi is the energy, divine energy of Vishnu. So that we have to take refuge in that primal spirit only. We also have to take refuge. Not we don't have to take refuge in Shakti or Lakshmi or something, Saraswati. Then we have to take refuge in the God. Then only we can be liberated. Otherwise, we take refuge in the shortcut backdoor entry. We approach through Madam and Shakti से आधा बेटा. उसके बाद जन्म after जन्म, branch after branch. You become Indra also, you become Devendra also, you become everything also, Muni also, everything. You keep on being born. You become king also, and also you make everything. And you will forget everything. Unless you approach Narayana. There's a people are approaching Narayana or Shiva directly. He is the primal spirit. That's what you and I have to seek. We have to seek to approach Lord, the primal spirit, that you call it. Shiva, Brahma, Brahmadev, or Vishnu, whatever you call it, we have to approach that spirit. And a person should feel oneness with all things to become aware of. There are 2-3 more angles, beautiful angles he mentioned it. That is fleeing from attachments and worldly life. in the boat of dispassion, fleeing from the attachments to worldly life, in the boat of dispassion, the yogis reach the shore of absolute truth. So we have to be in the boat of dispassion, that we have seen in the earlier chapter, in the earlier sloka. We have to have the dispassion. Passion versus dispassion. Passion is to get into works. Dispassion is to not get into all works. That is what it is. We have to be in the boat of dispassion, in the weapon of self-knowledge. We have to be endeavored. That is how our approach should be. This is when you fight a war. There is if the enemy is stronger, say you are Senapati, you are the chief of your army and all that. So you will have more protection, armor and all. You don't want to get killed by any Tom, Dick and Harry soldier. If you just get killed by any ordinary soldier, how can you give directions to your army commander? So you got to have more weaponry strength with him. No ordinary people can approach you. If they approach you, you shoot them down. That is what it is. So we need to have the armor with us, the sword of self-knowledge, and we have to be in the boat of dispassion. That's how the yogis are reaching the absolute. That is what it is. And shaking all the moods and egoism, the wise will take passport to their original home. Ignorance of God is the problem. So this is the actual problem here in the world is the ignorance of God. Everybody thinks God कहाँ है? God तो होता नहीं है. God है ही नहीं. भगवान तो है ही नहीं. This is the ignorance. This ignorance of God. God होता तो दिखा देता है ना. मैं इतना पूजा कर रहा हूँ, इतना मेडिटेशन कर रहा हूँ, इतना भगवत गीता पढ़ रहा हूँ, इतना रामायण पढ़ रहा हूँ. भगवान तो कोई दिखता नहीं है. मैं हिमालय चला गया है, मैं वहाँ चला गया, पहाड़ चला गया है, जंगलों में चला गया है, दंडकारण्य में चला गया, भगवान तो नहीं दिखता है. So this is ignorance of God. This ignorance of God has led to the fake knowledge, false knowledge, which has spread throughout the world. पूरा दुनिया में है spread है. हर एक आदमी यही बोलता है, क्या छोड़ यार, भगवान की क्या ढूंढ रहा है, क्या क्या भगवत गीता पढ़ते हैं, क्या करते हैं, क्या भजन करते हैं, छोड़ छोड़. This is the false ignorance of God. Why? Because they don't know they are also God. God is there in them also. Otherwise, they will become dead bodies. God is there. The moment, the very fact of you are living, you are alive, I am alive. God is there in us. Let me tell you this. So, ignorance of God has led to the world false knowledge, which has spread throughout the world, giving rise to the concept of duality. Because of this ignorance, we are thinking duality has come. Now, O Arjuna, we should realize that God is our own self. Very important point Sri Krishna is making. And Jnanadeva, Sant Jnanadeva is telling us that God is our own self. That means what? That means God is your own self. You are God. 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 I am God. God is our own self. God is nowhere else. That is what in chapter 15, Purushottama Prapti Yoga, in Sloka 4, they are mentioning. How? You see, if you have seen the snow mountains in the side, you have seen the snowy areas. You must all have visited where snow-fallen areas have gone there, like Mussoorie and all that, Dehradun, Mussoorie, and many cold places I have seen in North Sikkim. I have seen for the first time whole hill, whole mountain, whole rocks are solid with ice blocks. There's no stone, there's no sand. Everything is ice. I've seen it. How that example is giving. This cold could shiver with its own coldness. The cold has become ice. మంచులా గట్టగట్టేస్తుంది అంటారు కదా, అట్లాగా అయిపోతుంది. అట్లాగా మనం we have to realize our own God, our own self. Oh Arjuna, that there is another sign by which a person can recognize the state. Once he attains it, there is no rebirth for him. Those who are filled with the knowledge of the self, again self-knowledge. Firstly, we have to see a non-duality aspect. There are two things he's telling. One is see all non-duality everywhere. There should be no duality. I should not see he is different than me, and he should see that he is different than me. This non-duality, we have to see everybody is the spirit soul. This is one angle. Second angle is telling that we have to have the knowledge of the self. This is the second angle. Like the fullness of the waters at the time of the final delusion reached the state of, and when the pralayam takes place, it is said that water will come and submerge everything. That's how it happens. So like that we need to have the knowledge of the self with us. And there are some more angles also mentioned that we will see further. And now we will go to Sloka 15. So before that he mentioned about the non-attachment only. I have written some more points. So far he mentioned about non-attachment, we have to get it. But then how to get it also, he mentioned somewhere in chapter 4 he mentioned it. How to get the non-attachment. Can you tell me how to get non-attachment? It is very easy said here, you get non-attachment. But how to get non-attachment? That is, he also mentioned in chapter 4, chapter 4, 19 to 23, if you can refer it later. So, that I also go through. The weapon of non-attachment, we can attain it. It's very easy to attain it, provided you focus on it. I'll read it on the Sanskrit sloka first, and then I'll go to English. Yasva sarve samarambha kama sankalpa varjita jnanagni dagdha karmarum tamahu panditam buddha tyaktva karmaphala sangam nitya trupta nirashyaha nirashi yata chitatma tyakta sarva parigraha yadruchha labha santushta bandvatita vimasaraha samasiddhava siddhau gata sangasya muktasya jnana avastha chetasaha yajna yacharata karma samagram praviliyate. This is what. So in English I will read out. This is how the weapon of non-attachment. He who has excluded desire and motive from all his enterprises. Like I am doing an enterprise, like we are reading Bhagavad Gita, this is an enterprise. For example, as any other activity, we do any other activity, so that activity, in that activity, he who has excluded desire and motive from all his enterprise. There should be no other motive, no other desire. This is what it is, non-attachment. And has consumed his karma in the fire of knowledge. Him the wise men call a sage. That is what it is. Yasva sarve samarambha kama sankalpa varjita jnanagni dagdha karmanam tamahu panditam vida. Now another angle, he says, he who has abandoned all attachment to the fruits of non-attachment. So for the non-attachment, the sword of non-attachment, a boat of non-attachment, for the boat of non-attachment, we have to abandon all attachment to the fruits of action. We say you do a good job, but you do it well, that's all. For the sake of doing it, for the purpose of doing it. But then don't bother about the fruits of action. That is what it is. Always content, not dependent. Even when performing action does in effect nothing at all. Let me tell you, Bhagavad Gita has helped me in many ways when I started applying this. Like if you really with the spirit of Bhagavad Gita, if you apply, Yaktva karma phala sangam nitya trupta nirashriyaha, so it will take us out like a lotus flower has come up out of the mud. It will also lift us up. Otherwise, we don't get lifted. Let me tell you, we get submerged in the work and then the results and appreciation or depreciation, attraction or repulsion, and various things. Dualities will get stuck up. Our aim is to get out of the non-duality. Get out of the duality. We have to become non-dual. We have to realize the non-duality. That is the purpose. So, performing action with the body alone, without wish, restrained through in thought and self, with all motives of acquisition abandoned, he incurs no will. We have to, with all motives of acquisition abandoned. These are very difficult to do, but then this is not that very difficult also. Lord Krishna said, Abhyasena Vairagyena Krupite. Mind control is very difficult. Mind is always moving. Mind is not stable. But it's with Abhyasena and Vairagyena Krupite. That is what it is. But if we try to like you must have done horse riding. Like I have done horse riding in my Indian Military Academy training days. Horse riding. The horse say we are riding a horse. Then we have to hold we sit properly on that, and then thereafter we have to hold our reins properly, and then we have to learn that. Then the Abhyasena Vairagyena Krupite. It's like that, riding a horse. So content with whatever comes to him, transcending the dualities, pleasure and pain, free from envy. That is what. Transcending the dualities. If I do some good work, somebody may appreciate me, it's fine. Somebody doesn't appreciate me, it's fine. That's what I should be there. I do a good work and I keep appreciating that Colonel Samsurao Garu will appreciate me, will appreciate me, will appreciate me. Then I am in the duality aspect. About non-dual. That is what it is. Transcending the dualities. We have to transcend the dualities. That is what it is. That is why, if you see in Ramayana, Sri Rama has killed Tataka, Rakshasi. He used to destroy. He didn't expect anything from any return from any king or anybody in gods will come and give him some wealth, this thing, diamond, this thing, या तुमने उसको मार दिया, हमको ये रक्षा कर दिया है. So he did this as his work. That is what it is. So, transcending the dualities, free from envy, constant in the mind whether in success or in failure, or even though he acts, he is not bound. The work of one who is free from attachment, who is liberated, whose thought is established in knowledge, who does work only as a sacrifice, is only dissolved. If we do our work only as a sacrifice, then only we get dissolved. Otherwise, we get trapped in the world. This is about the weapon of non-attachment. With this non-attachment, Asanga Sastrena Drudena Chitva. This inverted tree, we have to cut it with the weapon of non-attachment. Otherwise, this tree will not get cut. Our body, our relationships will not get cut. Then another also mentioned, I've gone deep into the study of non-attachment. There are few more in various chapters also Lord Krishna has mentioned. Primarily we are talking about chapter 15, sloka 4, Asanga Sasrena Drudena Chitva, chapter sloka 3. Then in that, yes, I suddenly realized he is telling Arjuna in chapter 15. Before telling chapter 15, Arjuna has told, Krishna has told Arjuna up to chapter 14 and sir. He told 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Then only he could go up to 15th chapter. So he told in previous chapters also at various places this non-attachment. That I suddenly recollected and I am trying to present it to you. The कर्मणि एव अधिकारते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफल हेतुः माते संगो अस्तु कर्मणि योगस्थ कुरु कर्माणि संगम त्यक्त्वा धनंजय सिद्धि सिद्धो समभूत्वा समत्वं योग उच्यते कर्मसु बुद्धियुक्ता हि फलं त्यक्त्वा मनीषिणः जन्म बंध विनिर्मुक्ता पदं गच्छन्ति अनामयम् जन्म बंध विनिर्मुक्ता पदं गच्छन्ति अनामयम् get liberated from जन्म बंध विनिर्मुक्ता पदं गच्छन्ति अनामयम् प्रदहाति यदा कामान् सर्वान् पार्थ मनोगतान् आत्मन्येव आत्मनस्तुष्टस्मृतपिके तदा उच्यते विहाय कामानि सर्वान् पुमान् चरति निःस्पृहः निर्ममान् निरहङ्कारस्य शान्तिम् अधिगच्छति ब्रह्मणि आदाय कर्माणि सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा करोति यः लिप्यते न स पापेन पद्मपत्रे एवाम्बसा कायेन मनसा बुद्ध्या केवले इन्द्रियैरपि योगिनः कर्म कुर्वन्ति सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा आत्मशुद्धये युक्त कर्मफलं त्यक्त्वा शान्तिम् आप्नोति नैष्ठिकीम् अयुक्त कामकारेण फले सत्त्वं निबध्यते. This is non-attachment. How the boat of non-attachment? It's a boat which will cross over the worldly existence. But where do you get this boat? Everybody wants a boat or a ship or this thing, steamer, but where do we get it? He is telling it is here, like this. You will read it in English. Your right is to action alone, never to its fruits at any time. Never should the fruits of action be your motive. Never let there be attachment to inaction in you. Fixed in yoga, perform actions, having abandoned attachment. Arjuna, having become indifferent to success and failure, it is said that evenness of mind is yoga. Evenness of mind is a yoga. Those who are established in wisdom, the wise ones, who have abandoned the fruit of action, all are freed from the bondage of rebirth. Go to the place that is free from pain. So those who have abandoned the fruits of action, they will be freed from the bondage of the rebirth. And when he leaves all desires emerging from the mind, Arjuna, and is concentrated in the self by the self, then he is said to be one whose wisdom is steady. The man who abandons all desires, acts free from longing, indifferent to positions, free from egoism, he attains peace. So that is what we have to be free from egoism also. We have to get it reduced also. I may have egoism, but then I have to get it reduced gradually. Become free from egoism, become an egoless person, because God is egoless. That's why he doesn't have any ego. So with the ego, how can we enter into? We cannot enter into it. If you're a good man, you're a friendly man, I should be also like good. Then only you will accept me as your friend. If I am a different fellow, you will not accept me as your friend. Similarly, God is egoless. We have to be egoless. Offering his actions to Brahman, having abandoned all attachment, who acts is not tainted by evil any more than a lotus leaf by water. With the body, with the mind, with the intellect, even merely with the senses, the yogins perform actions toward self-purification, having abandoned attachment. This is self-purification only. With the self-purification only, we have to do all the work. I have to do some good work. I am going to some Tirtha Yatra. I have to do for self-purification only. I had to purify my senses, my body, my senses, my mind and intellect. For that only I had to do that. I am doing some donations, Dhanam, charity work I am doing. I have to do it for self-purification only. I say I am giving some donation to somebody, 1,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees, something I am donating. That is for self-purification I should do it. I should not do it for any other sense of gratification. That is what, that's where it is. And we have to practice it with a great self-control. And he who is disciplined in yoga, having abandoned the fruit of action, attains a steady peace. The undisciplined attached to fruit is bound by actions prompted by desire. That is as simple as that is said. Either yuktaha or ayuktaha. Yuktaha shantim apnoti naistiti. Yuktaha कर्मफलम त्यक्त्वा शांति apnoti naistiti. Ayuktaha kamakarena phale satto nibhadyate. That is what it is. Either we are one thing. Either I am yukta or I am ayukta. That is what it is. Either you are yukta or you are ayukta. It's as simple as that. So we have to see that what are we, and then accordingly we have to take steps for us in all situations. So this is a game of life. This we have to understand. So I'll stop this here, and then we'll restart continue it tomorrow from the next sloka onwards. So this is what chapter 15 up to 4 or 5 only we could continue this. So we chant 3 times Om Sha, and Sarvam Sri Krishnarpnamastu.